Welcome to Crime&Colouring. Viewer discretion is advised. On July 14th, 2019, 17-year-old Bianca Devins was murdered by her close friend in an enraged attack of jealousy and obsession. Moments after, Brandon Andrew Clark went on to post images and clips of Bianca's lifeless body all over the internet, before attempting to take his own life in a twisted murder-suicide attempt. Today, we'll look into the circumstances surrounding the attack and its lead-up. Bianca Devins was born on the 2nd of October 2001 in New York and lived there with her mum Kim and her younger sister Liv. She loved the colour pink and her cat Belle, but she had had a difficult childhood. Reports suggest she had struggled with her mental health from a very young age. When she was just 9 years old, she started seeing a therapist for separation anxiety. At 13, she began struggling with depression, and at 16, she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. For much of her teenage years, she had been in and out of hospital receiving mental health treatment. According to her mother Kim, Bianca started spending more and more time online where she could just escape her own mental struggles. She had become what's known as an e-girl, a sort of edgy internet aesthetic. She created different profiles on platforms such as Tumblr, Snapchat, Instagram and Discord, and began to build a modest following. She was particularly well known in the online video gaming community. Bianca had recently graduated from high school and was due to start at the local community college doing a psychology course. Brandon Andrew Clark was born on October 6, 1997. He is said to have had a deeply traumatic childhood. His father often abused his mother, which he had witnessed almost daily. He once held his mother hostage at knife point and was subsequently sent to prison. His mother was later arrested on an unrelated charge, so Brandon was sent into foster care. Online, Bianca had attracted a number of male followers known as orbiters, a derogatory name for someone who tries to gain attention from someone in the hope of eventually getting into a romantic relationship or having sex with them. And it is said that she had dealt with harassment by a number of incels for at least a year before her death. Brandon's online presence in his later years showed that he was a big part of the incel community and was described as a beta orbiter due to him investing time and effort into getting to know and becoming friends with Bianca, but only hoping for it to lead to one thing: sex. Bianca and Brandon met on Instagram only 2 months before the incident, and they seemed to hit it off and became fast friends, despite him being 4 years older than Bianca. They only lived half an hour apart and their families also became familiar with each other. Bianca's sister Liv describing Brandon as a close family friend. Police reports claim that Bianca and Brandon were in a briefly romantic relationship, which Bianca ended as she was about to go to college. Brandon would still refer to himself as her boyfriend. Bianca's mother, Kim, didn't see him as much of a threat, so didn't say anything about it. Other sources claimed that Bianca had made it clear to Brandon on several occasions that they were only friends, and she wasn't interested in him romantically. They would never be a couple. Bianca had previously complained to one of her friends about the creepy, obsessive messages she would receive from him. So how did obsession turn to murder? So on Saturday, the 13th of July, 2019, Bianca and Brandon made their way from Utica to Queens to attend a concert. Bianca had earlier posted about her excitement of travelling nearly 250 miles for this concert, the first concert she had ever gone to on her own, to all her followers and friends. Bianca's mother later said that she was relieved that Brandon would be going with her because she trusted him to look after her daughter. Bianca had arranged to meet a mutual friend at the concert, a man named Alex. Not much is known about him, but Brandon knew she had planned to meet him there and was not happy about it. After the concert, about an hour into the drive home, an argument broke out between Bianca and Brandon. At the concert, Bianca had held hands and kissed Alex, and obviously Brandon had seen. He was jealous and he was furious. At some point, Bianca DM'd one of her friends while she was in the car saying that Brandon was so mad about what she had done. She tried to make it clear with Brandon that they were only friends. She wasn't interested in him in any other way. But Brandon believed that she owed him a sexual relationship, that he had the right to be with her romantically, and that she was just using him. Things calmed down, and Bianca, exhausted from the concert and the long drive, went to sleep in the back car seat. as their journey back to Utica continued into the early hours of the 14th. Whilst Bianca was asleep, Brandon took the opportunity to update his Instagram bio to include his date of death, the 14th of the 7th, 19. He drove down a dead-end dirt road near to Bianca's home and parked up. He set up a camera on the dashboard of the car and placed the large knife he had hidden in the car before the concert on the seat next to him. Pressing record, he woke Bianca up, hiding the knife at his side before launching his attack. Brandon struck at Bianca's throat. She didn't see it coming. He then started sawing at her neck with the knife. Struggling to cut through the tissue and muscle, he later admitted to the police that it was harder than it looks like it is on TV. After Bianca had taken her final breaths, Brandon stopped the video recording and he left Bianca's lifeless body in the car while he built a fire on the dirt road, listening to music as he worked. With the song Test Drive playing on repeat, he snapped some pictures of Bianca in the car before he moved her body and laid her on the dirt floor, covering her with a green tarp that he had brought with him. He spray painted "May You Never Forget Me" on the ground surrounding her body. Lying on top of the tarp and on top of Bianca's body, he proceeded to take several selfies. At approximately 6 a.m. on Sunday the 14th of July, Brandon shared the first picture of Bianca's butchered body in the backseat of the car to Discord, Instagram and Snapchat with the caption, "I am sorry, Bianca." Immediately, viewers on all platforms tried to establish if the images were real or just some kind of sick joke. And by 7:20 a.m, police had received numerous reports from all over the country about the shared images. These images were reposted hundreds of times and quickly went viral. Some of the first people to discuss the murder were users of the website 4chan, a barely moderated internet message board where users can post anonymously. Both Brandon and Bianca are said to have used 4chan themselves. Users on the forum celebrated another 4chan murder and discussed her death in offensive and misogynistic terms, victim blaming and photoshopping the graphic images of her into sadistic memes. By Sunday evening, even users on Twitter had started to talk about and reshare the Instagram posts, and by that time the police had confirmed the images were real. On Monday, hashtag RIP Bianca was trending in the US. Although they were getting many reports, police had little information to go on. Luckily for them, Brandon took the opportunity to make calls to several members of his family to tell them what he had done. He had left his grandmother a voicemail, tried to call his brother in Alaska, and called his aunt, and they all called 911. Brandon then called 911 himself. He explained to the police what he had done and where he and Bianca's body were. He then told the police, "I am not going to stay on the phone long because I need to do the suicide part of this murder-suicide." When police arrived, Brandon stabbed at his own throat using the same black-handled knife he had used to murder Bianca and quickly took a picture of himself bleeding. After a brief struggle with police, he was arrested and quickly taken to hospital for emergency surgery. Shockingly, he survived his suicide attempt, and just 1 day later, as he lay in hospital, Brandon was charged with murder. When police investigated, they found several worrying things in Brandon's internet search history. Just a few months before, in May and June, Brandon had been researching different methods of killing someone. His particular interest seemed to be choking, hanging, and the carotid artery, which is the main blood vessel in the neck. He had researched how to live stream a murder and where was best to broadcast it for most views. He also searched Bianca online, and police found screenshots of all their conversations. Brandon pleaded guilty to murder as he wanted to spare Bianca's family the distress of a trial. He admitted to slitting her throat and killing her. He told prosecutors that he was originally going to post the video that he took of the murder, but in the end he didn't want to share it because he wanted to replay it and watch it himself. However, he then tried to change his plea to not guilty, but the judge denied the request. Brandon Andrew Clark was charged with second-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years, when he will be just 46 years old in 2044. Biance Devins, aged 17, was a talented artist, a loving sister, daughter and cousin, and a wonderful young girl. taken from her family far too soon. Her mum said, Bianca's smile brightened our lives. She will always be remembered as our princess. Rest in peace, Bianca Devins.